Well, I have learnt a lot from the previous segment where we spoke about copyright and protecting your intellectual property, and I have learnt a lot. I have learned that a lot of people have responsibilities. I mean, practically everybody should be responsible for protecting that. Well, away from that, in this segment, we caught up with an octogenarian in the course of the week and spoke about a lot of wonderful, informative things that you would be listening to right now.
Hello, thank you so much for joining me on this segment on Breakfast Weekend. Now, I caught up with a gentleman, a very handsome man, he asked me, who clocked 80 just very recently, in fact, maybe just last weekend. And he struck me as someone, apart from his age, he struck me as someone who has a lot to offer. Sometimes when you would have taken an account or taken an inventory of what you've done, of where you've been, the things you didn't do, and even the places you didn't go, you begin to watch out for what do I need to leave with these people. When you've sojourned, you've done it all, like some people would say, and you're ready to go, or you're not anyway. The question arises with, what legacy are you leaving behind? What will people remember you for? My guest today is Baba Mosebolatan Oladepo. He clocked 80, like I said recently. He studied geography while in school, but he was a tutor for the most part of his life. He also worked with INEC, that's Independent National Electoral Commission. At the time, he was just starting. He retired as a teacher about 20 years ago, and he has a lot to share with us this morning on Breakfast Weekend. So good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
So you clocked 80 about a few days ago.
Exactly on Sunday.
How does 80 feel?
Well, 80 feel like it's a good age to still recount some of the past things God has made us to pass through in life. So that's how I feel it. Because at 80, one cannot actually recollect many things you do by the age of 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you can recollect some of the things in the past, maybe you start at the age of 7 or 10 or and above. So within that period to this time, I think I can recollect some wonderful things that has happened in my life.
What would you say has been your fondest memory of the time you were growing up?
At the time I was growing up, you see, one thing is sure. I was born in what the Englishman will call a hamlet.
Okay.
A hamlet is a place is where the father, the mother, and the children are only living. The closest family are living together. That's what. That's the type where the place I was born. So when I grew up, incidentally, my father had 2 wives. My mother was the first wife, then the second wife, and incidentally, I'm the last born of the 2 wives. And in fact, I was born at the time when I was only told that my parents have even stopped bearing children. So it is by accident that I was born. So, and shortly after I was born, I can't really say I know my mother, because I was just about 4 years old when she died. So the word death has not even entered into my vocabulary. So I really don't even know much about her. But I know the date she died. I was, I told you it's a hamlet.
Okay.
We have our house, our village, where we are living together like this. We have a parlor. It is in that parlor that they were washing her dead body. but I was there, but I didn't know what actually was happening. So, but I don't know how they bury her. I don't know everything.
Because you were still
But
alive.
that particular incident, when she died and they were washing her corpse, I was staying at the door. So my father was taken to the other side of the house, and I heard him saying, "Where is Ladepo?" But that is where they were looking for. They don't know that I was watching my mother's being washed, the corpse of my mother being washed. So they called me and I went. That is the only thing I can remember about my mother's death.
So a lot of people agree that a woman's role in a child's upbringing cannot be overemphasized. Her death, at that point, did it take anything away from your upbringing while you were growing up?
Well, really, it has to, because most of what a child should learn from the mother, I have to learn it from my elder sisters and other wives of the members of the family and other things.
What about your stepmother?
My stepmother, yes, is there.
What role did she play?
I mean, she didn't. In those days there were no differences between the children. So we were all the children are growing together. There is no discrimination, and she as a stepmother, she was taking care of everybody that is around. So it's okay. There was no problem with that thing. But that real maternal touch is not. In fact, it was later in life that I began to realize that I missed some things which I ought to have gained from my mother and my father too. Because my father also died just immediately after I finished primary 6.
Wow.
So I was left to my own fate. But God so blessed me that my elder brothers were up to the task of bringing me up.
You say your elder brothers were able to bring you up. How did the education bit fare? I don't know how much older they were, than you then, but how were you able to sort out the school fees, books, for example, and so much that you were able to get to the tertiary level of your education? How did that work out?
Well, it was God's arrangement, because I can't say exactly how God bring me to that level of even going to the university. Really, my first name, when I started school, I started I started with the name Oladepo Labode. When I was to go to secondary modern school, the name become Oladepo Olabode. When I was to go to Baptist College Iwo, the name become Thomas Oladepo Olabode. So at that instance, in fact, nobody knew. Myself, I never knew I could be educated even to go to that secondary modern school, because there was nothing around that can make me to have confidence that I will acquire education at all. So, but as God will have it, my eldest brother, because we are just 3, took up that responsibility and piloted me throughout the secondary modern school. So it is thereafter, after secondary modern school in those days, you can get teaching appointment. So after a year, I got teaching appointment, and I was teaching in one primary school. So after that, that is after some times that I went to Baptist College Iwo, where I obtained my teacher's grade 2.
All right, let's talk about this birthday that was just a week ago. You said you had a message for Nigerians? And it's something you would like to get out there. You want people to make use of this information. What's it about?
Well, the message I have for Nigeria is that the people that are now called Nigerians don't know how they come about to be called Nigerians. It was the design of the Europeans who were after exploiting our economy at that time. You know, when they send out people for exploration, perhaps you heard of Mango Park and others that are exploring Africa. So they were actually to be looking for the resources to exploit in Africa. And so when they come to Nigeria, they see Nigeria is a fertile land, and they continue to be exploring it in one way or the other, exploiting all our resources, both human and natural resources. So basically, nobody in Nigeria has anything or has any knowledge about how Nigeria comes about. We just find ourselves that the European call us or the British call us Nigerians. We are not the one who decide to be Nigerians. We are not the one who decides to be called Western Nigeria or Eastern Nigeria or Northern Nigeria. They are the one who decided everything.
Well, is that a problem? You would expect that after all these years of being neighbors, after all, for example, I don't think anyone chose to be anyone's neighbor on this street, for example. But after a long time of living together, you know, you would have learned how to be cordial, how to be friends with each other. So ordinarily, the fact that we didn't have a say in whether we should be a country, should that affect anything?
Yeah, it has to affect it, because if you start something, if me and you, if we agree on something that we are going to do this thing, even let's say just a common business. If you say we are starting a business together and we discuss together, it's different from when I employ somebody to come and be working for me. So that is the difference, because when you say that these people, they come basically to exploit our resources, and they continue. And that's what I tell people, that even the so-called independence, they did not give us independence. That is the truth. The British did not give us independence. What they did was that they arranged for people who will be ruling Nigeria on their behalf. That is the truth. They cannot dispute it, even because up to today, the leadership of this country cannot do anything without getting clearance from Britain. And I stand to be corrected by any of them. How can they don't do anything without, having or passing the program to the British authority there, even till today. So, our coming together as a group, if it had been voluntarily between ourselves, that would have been a different thing. Look, one time I met one Ghanaian, the president of Ghana Baptist Convention, came to our church. And when he was talking, he just said that Nigeria and Ghana were one. Everybody said, well, that's true. So, but he said, until it comes to the problem of, or it comes to the situation of football. And everybody shouted, that is true. When it comes to football, we are no more one. Ghana will try to win, and we will also try to win. So that is the problem. So when I went to US. When I went to US, I met, and in fact, when that man said that thing, everybody burst into laughter, because that is the basic truth. I believe that the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, we could have been more friendly than we are if we have been different countries. Because that Ghanaian example gave me insight that if there is no way that Lagbaja is exploiting me, Dola is exploiting me, there won't be any hula baloo.
Baba, Ghana, for example, also gained independence.
Yes.
And there are different tribes, different ethnic groups, even in Ghana. They aren't having as much problems as we are when it comes to diversity as we're having. Is it that Nigeria is a peculiar case, or is it something with the orientation of the people? What exactly is wrong? If we're not the only countries that were only country that was colonized at some point.
That is true. But the problem with that of Nigeria is that we were wrongly grouped together. We were wrongly grouped together. It is, I said earlier that the British did not give us independence. What they did was to arrange for the people that they know can rule Nigeria on their behalf. So that is the different, that makes us different from the Ghana independence. Ghana independence is total, and the people were actually, when Nigeria was fighting for independence, not everybody in Nigeria was fighting for independence. It's only the section that we are fighting. For example, the northern region, we are not interested in getting independence. They were comfortable. I was in Kano some time ago, and I was discussing with one man there. He said that as a person, I always talk of Awolowo. And when I mentioned Awolowo, they said that they know that Awolowo is good. But the problem is that they have been under the rule of the Fulanis for almost 300 or 400 years. Now, their fear is that if now, according to the people that I was discussing with at that time, they are pure Hausas, that their fear is that if they now follow Awolowo, they may now go to the second or third order of colonization, because they believe that the Fulani had colonized them before the British came. Now they went under the colonization of the British people, and after that, if now the Yoruba will now colonize them again. That is their thinking. So that fear of domination has been has been long before, for a long time, let me say. It has been there for a long time. So nobody tends to take care of that differences and aspirations of different groups of people that are in Nigeria. Before independence, Abeokuta has struggled to obtain her own independence. Only they failed. Suppose Abeokuta had obtained independence at that time, would they not survive? They are just making us to believe, and it is a wrong belief, that any group cannot survive on their own. As long as you wake up and you walk, you will survive. So it's not only by being a big country or anything that can make you big or something. Look at the small European countries. How big is Scandinavian countries? Norway, Sweden, and which other one is the third one? How big are they? Are they not surviving? The economy is what we depend on.
When it comes to leadership, though, won't we have issues?
Leadership.
Who's the leader now?
Leadership will continue to be a tussle anywhere in the world. I mean, wahala ni pola, but everybody is struggling to be. So, everybody is still struggling to be Ola. So it doesn't matter whether we break up and we start domineering something will not continue to be arise. Before the European came, the word Yoruba, I tell people, the word Yoruba was popularized by the British people. We have never been used that word before the British came. It was one Alaafin of Oyo that gave the British people that name Yoruba, and that the Yoruba comprises of all the places that I've said, Edo, Delta, that is particularly the Jos and the Urhobos, and the Kwara, evidently they are Yoruba, the Kogi people, the Kaba people, Oro and all those people, they are Yorubas, and they go towards the homicide from Okeogun to the Republic of Benin now. So it does not mean that we will not have that problem of a group dominating another one. What about in Britain? In Britain, don't we have
All right, to wrap up now, any last words? What would you like to say to wrap this up?
Well, basically, I want to say that the leadership of the Yorubas in particular should gear up when they are asking for restructuring. What actually are they asking for? As far as I'm concerned, what I think, I have about 14 or 20 something points that I've listed, which maybe the time will not allow me to say those things, because if I have known that this thing will come to, I will have prepared to give them and list it to you. When you are asked, first and foremost, each state in the country should collect the revenue of his state, including all the companies that are operating in each state. For example, take the workers in the banks now. The federal government is collecting the taxes and other things from all this. If you save 1 million naira in the bank, and at the end of the month, the bank will pay you some interest, Abi. The interest they pay you is going to be tax, and the tax is going to the purse of the federal government. Why not the state? Because every worker in each state will be provided with good road, with water, with other social schools and other social facilities. It is the responsibility of the state to do that. Why then? It's very wrong for the federal government to be doing many of the things they are doing. What concerns the local government and the federal government with the local government? The state should be the developmental unit of the federal government, while the local government should be the developmental unit of the state government. Even there is need for a fourth one, which I think it was Obasanjo or something like, which you call community group. That is whereby each local government will be able to adopt to see which communities in each area, and then make them a group together and design developmental programs for them. So those are some of the things that we need to look into and make Nigeria move forward.
To make Nigeria great again. And to make Nigeria great again, yes?
Well, to make Nigeria great, you see, to make Nigeria great is very difficult, because all our intellectuals, all our brains, first-class brains, they are all in Europe and America. They are all in Europe. They are using their brains to in industries, in their universities, in their everywhere. They are using it. What we have in Nigeria, I mean, the greatest people are just people that are not all the first class. I remember when my son was there to graduate from the University of Ife, 10 of them in the chemical engineering, 10 of them came with first class. Out of the 10 that came with first class, only one remained in Nigeria. The rest all abroad. And even the one that stayed in Nigeria was working with First Bank. Chemical engineer working in the First Bank. So those are the type of problems that we have. So many things that we need. Restructuring, they should be specific. What do they want to yes. Somebody cannot go into Abuja to collect money all the time. For what?
Well, we'll put a stop at it there. There's a saying that old age is just a record of one's whole life. And I would agree with that saying, that it's been a journey with Papa Mosebolatan, Oladepo. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And this is where it's a wrap. It's back to the studio now. Thank you.
Wow, that's really deep and insightful. I mean, looking at the message, one would wonder what was on his mind when he was talking about all this. Ayo.
Exactly. You know, like I said at the beginning of the interview, when you reach a certain age, you begin to take an inventory. What have I done? What can I leave behind? And you know, I think that's what he's trying to do. You would have heard a number of people say that people who know the truth sometimes don't exactly say it. They just color things here and there and just gloss over it.
The truth is that
However, exactly, and I think that's what he was trying to do, just getting his own ideas, his own opinions, his own truth in a way out for people to pick and choose. And he touched on a number of things. For me, the highlights would be how in the class of his son, while he was in school, there were about 10 first class students, and about 9 of them have traveled out. The best brains of Nigeria, according to him, are out of the country. He said one of those guys still is in the country, one of the guys who had first class, and that one is working with a bank at this time. And it just shows you the reality of things. It shows you how much work we still have left undone.
Yes.
And so, as a nation, we have to collectively rise up to the occasion.
And making sure that we are all maximizing our potentials. I mean, consider that a lot of our first class students, they all went out of the country, probably using their potentials for wherever they are. And here we are in Nigeria. We need a lot of people like that. I mean, we need people that are ready to give it all for Nigeria. We need people that are ready to make a difference, make an impact for Nigeria.
Impact it is. I remember you're on Impact Africa Television. This is Breakfast Weekend, and we'll call it a wrap this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I mean, from the copyright segment to his own segment, it's been really deep for me. It's been really insightful, and I thank you for being a part of it. I remain Ayodro Jaye. Until the next time, it's bye from me.
Among the things that I've learned, especially from the copyright aspect, is that we all have a responsibility towards protecting it. I mean, from the content provider, from the government, even to the parents. I mean, instilling that value in your children.
Making them understand the value of other people's work.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. So this morning, and that is where we'll be ending it this morning, I'm happy you're joining us. I'm happy you've stayed with us all through. I'm Wura Olakomi saying bye.